Good morning. Welcome to AMX85, Master of your fate, Captain of your soul, which is a really awesome quote that we'll get into here in a minute. As you are gathering up, I'm going to be sharing it via my other Facebook page. And as always, any share, comment, tagging of someone who could use this mention, one, greatly appreciated from me, and two, it's going to be greatly appreciated from them. So please feel free to do that. The book I'm reading, we started yesterday, is Think and Grow Rich. Boom. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And hopefully, with your help, actually, I won't have to do this in between stuff, but now I'm trying to gather as much steam as I possibly can for these morning videos, because from what you've been saying, the ones who have been consistently watching, and it's been providing an awesome start to your day. So I'm trying to get that message to as many people as possible. So the book I'm reading is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yes, by Napoleon Hill. Sorry, I get that mixed up with How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. But yes, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the book is based around these success principles that Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to figuring out. So back in the early 1900s, he met Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie was a steel magnate who got the U.S. Steel Corporation revolutionized railroading, revolutionized travel across the United States. So Napoleon Hill, the author, had an interview with him that set him on this path of interviewing over 500 of the most successful men in history. And again, this is the early 1900s, so it takes us up through to the Depression and then the aftermath of the Depression. And he talks about, it kind of related me to a little bit about what's going on in our country now, which is this absolute, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's certainly not cohesive. There's these two groups, these two bands forming together or forming against each other. And in the book, he talks about the Depression, and he talks about the opportunity that comes, and I'll probably get to that quote, but he talks about the opportunity that comes from such a time as the Depression. So, I don't want to be on a soapbox here, but as a country, let's try to get something good going here. So he opens this chapter talking about Henry Ford. Now, Henry Ford, I read about this in another book that I had read, but it was talking about a horse and carriage. And Henry Ford had this idea of transportation without a horse and carriage, a completely different way. And he didn't go about that idea by just making the horse and buggy better. No, he set his sights up here. He set his sights far and beyond the horse and carriage. And this chapter talks about this idea of kind of this power of thought, going beyond the norm, going in a different direction than the other person. He starts out by talking about Henry Ford and his idea to put, and I'm not a car guy at all, I'm going to sound like an idiot, but a V8 engine in one block. That was his idea. Don't exactly know what that means. That's what he wanted to do. But it was this far off idea, this far off design that his designer said it's impossible. And Henry Ford, and back to that definiteness of purpose, that burning desire that we talked about yesterday, Henry Ford said to his designers, okay, I get it. You say it's impossible, but that's your job. So get to it, and let's not stop until it's over. So it goes on to say, Henry Ford is a success because he understands and applies the principles of success. One of these is desire, knowing what one wants. We go through our days oftentimes not knowing what we want. We get swallowed up by the monotony and the rat race that is life. And you forget, what do you want? Not just kind of what do you want, but what's your burning desire? What's at the pit of your stomach that gets you going every day, that gets me up every morning at 4:30 to read for 45 minutes and then make these videos? What is it? For me, it's passing on that knowledge and sharing it with you, because I feel blessed and fortunate to have the life that I have, and I want to pay it forward. What is your burning desire? What is it? Ask yourself that. Think about it. It's 6:35. We're going to be done with this at about 6:45. You have the rest of the day and the weekend to figure out what is your burning desire. And then we go on to the title of this video. So it says, when Henley wrote the prophetic lines, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And I'm pretty sure I butchered that quote many times saying, I am the master of my ship. So I am the think of that. Think of it, write it down, implement it into your brain for today. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. You are the driver of your bus. Hopping back to one of the last books we read, The Energy Bus. You are the driver of your bus. You are the captain of your fate, the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. It says, when he wrote that, he should have informed us that we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our soul, because we have the power to control our thoughts. The power to control our thoughts. We talked about, yesterday I told you a story about this guy named Barnes who had this burning desire to, sorry, my connection just said it was going bad. We talked about this guy Barnes yesterday who had a burning desire not just to work with Thomas Edison back in the day, but to be Thomas Edison's co-pilot, to be his partner, to be an associate of Thomas Edison. And he dedicated his life to that. Now, something I want to talk about, and I talk about often, we talk about this idea of power of thought, and in this book it's talking about definiteness of purpose backed by a burning desire. That is great, and that is well, and that is good, but here's the thing. If you don't put in the infrastructure, if you don't put in the work on a daily basis to make that burning desire, that definiteness of purpose come through, then it ain't going to happen. You've got to put in the work on a daily basis. Find that burning desire. Find that passion. Put in the work. Have that definiteness of purpose and don't stop. Because if you just have, especially in today's wimpy world where every kid is a winner, and no offense, colleges, but a lot of college university students think they deserve this or deserve, you don't deserve anything. You get what you earn. Find that passion, but that passion's not going to be handed right to you. Here you go, son. Here you go, daughter. Take it. Take it. No, it's not how the world works. That's not how anything works. You've got to put in the work. You've got to have the passion, but passion is a dangerous word, because if you just live for passion, you're going to find yourself a wanderer. Napoleon Hill writes another book called Outwitting the Devil, and he talks about wanderers. No, have that passion, that definiteness of purpose, that burning desire, and then put in the freaking work. Moving on. Now this book, you know, the book talks about, this is all based around money, riches, successes. And he writes about, he lists these 6 steps here to accumulate riches. And he's talking, preach, and he talks about accumulating riches. And yes, he is actually talking about money in this instance, but at the beginning of the book, it talks about these principles applying across the board. So you apply these principles to any aspect of life to get what you want. In my curriculum, when I talk or when I teach a course, I have a curriculum, my success curriculum, my elements of excellence. They're applicable across the board. They can help you lose weight. They can help you get a promotion. They can help you improve your relationship. They can help you become a UFC fighter. It has that power, and it's the same deal with Think and Grow Rich. He's applying these principles across the board. And a few of the steps, I'm not going to go through all of the steps, but a few of the steps he says, and this is to accumulate riches, and I would equate that to accumulate whatever you want. He says, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. So what I would say to you, step 1 of accumulating riches, riches being whatever it is that you want to acquire, fix in your mind the exact amount, the exact thing that you desire. For me, back in the day, it was UFC fighter. That was it. That was my amount of money that I wanted. For you, when you're going through your days, when you're assessing your goals, when you're trying to get there, state it, boom, clear as day, what it is. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So basically what he's getting at is clarity of purpose, clarity of your goals is extremely important. I want to be the most influential thought leader, influencer in the country. That is my goal way up here. Will it happen? I don't know, and I don't really care. But that is my burning desire, and that's what dictates my everyday. So find that burning desire and let it dictate your days. One of the cool it talked a lot about the seed, the power of thought in this chapter, and it talked about how, there's a couple quotes. You may as well know also that every great leader from the dawn of civilization down to the present was a dreamer. He talks about this idea of practical dreamers. So a dreamer, when I think of a dreamer, I think of someone who is, for lack of a better word, maybe a hippie, or, like, yeah, man, this is like, what is life, man? Like, what is love, man? Like, yeah, that's a dreamer, right? A practical dreamer, he introduces this idea of a practical dreamer. And a practical dreamer, to me, is someone who has these audacious goals and dreams. And the practical side is that they develop a plan to get there. So you can dream. I want everyone to be a dreamer. I think it's my youth speaking program is called Write Your Story. Dream your dream, right? And then live your dream. Yes, but there is a practical side to it. How are you going to get it done? What is your specific goal? What is the date by which you want to get there? How are you going to get it done? Those are practical dreamers. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you'll never see them in your bank balance. If you don't see it in your imagination, you'll never see it in your bank balance, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, no matter what it is. So I'll leave you, there's so much more. I'll leave you with these two quotes, these two awesome quotes. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Every failure brings with it the seed for an equivalent success. The depression, I'm going to interject my little lame-o story with these two monumental things. The depression gave rise to a new world, a new economy, a new country. Getting knocked out on television gave rise to writing a book, to starting a podcast, to starting a speaking career. Right now in our country, as I touched on at the beginning of this video, this is a terrible time, I think it's safe to say, in our country. Not a very neat thing that's going on with all this division, but hopefully we can find a way to turn that into an equivalent success. And the last one I want to leave you with for this Friday, for this kick butt Friday morning. The greatest achievement was, at first, and for a time, but a dream. The greatest achievement was, at first, and for a time, but a dream. Carpe diem. Fight well. You have a choice today. You can spread excellence or spread mediocrity. Spread excellence by sharing this video or tagging a friend of someone who could use this message. Carpe diem. Fight well. Hasta mañana.